Hey Internet, so today I want to talk about one of my favorite places, France. So, oftentimes when we're talking about France, we might be talking about its geography, its history, the French language, right? These things are well talked about, and there's like a billion videos on the internet talking about it. But I want to talk a bit about the French people, right? I feel like oftentimes when we're thinking about learning French as a language, we focus a lot on culture, but people are the culture. So, I want to talk a bit about why I love the French people. So, of course, these are my opinions and experiences, so take them as you will. And in no particular order, starting with the first reason why I love the French is their love for intellect, right? So in my experience, French people tend to be very knowledgeable and informed, right? I feel like I can have discussions about just about anything with French people, whether it's politics, whether it's geography, just social media, trends, anything. I feel like there's always something I can talk about with French people. They just seem to have a good grasp on what's going on in the world. I think that's super awesome. And I think, too, that the French are really good at kind of separating people from their ideals, right? Like identity is not ideals. And what I mean by that is oftentimes I've experienced this here in the United States where someone might believe one way politically, religiously, philosophically. They encounter someone who's the opposite, and it's very tense, and they don't really want to be around each other. But I've had some really awesome debates with my French language partners about things that I believe versus things that they believe. And what's really cool is at the end of it, they're like, dude, this was great conversation. Loved it. Thanks for offering so much good insight and things to think about. You know, I didn't necessarily convince them of anything, but I love that, like, it was like, we're still bros. Like, it's totally okay. We believe differently. Like, there's not this awkwardness. There's not this tension. And I think that's super cool. And along with that, my next reason why I really love the French is they're bold, right? So I feel like it takes a boldness, a degree of boldness, I should say, to be able to speak your mind confidently and collectively. Collectively? What's the word for that? What I'm trying to say is I really appreciate that they're bold and upfront with what they believe. And they don't really like back down from it, but they're also willing to admit that they're wrong, which is great. They're not afraid to talk about things that might be considered taboo here in the US, like religion and politics, right? They'll tell how they feel and they don't hold back. And it's awesome. Obviously, there's boundaries and appropriateness, right? We don't just go around yelling our opinions and beliefs. That gets a bit weird in my opinion. I admire the boldness of the French to speak their mind. That's super cool. Next on our list is that the French care a lot about culture, right? Think of art, history, fashion, food. My goodness, right? The French take such good care of their food. There's so much art, history, culture that is preserved and protected by the French people. That's so cool. This next one's super interesting. I'm not here to ruffle any feathers, but I do really love how the French prefer to be respectful over just being polite. So let me explain. So I am a self-diagnosed people pleaser, and oftentimes I feel this need to be overly polite, nice, whatever, but it's kind of fake, which doesn't actually make me a nice person, ironically. But I love that for the French, it's just greet them, acknowledge another person, and that's it. There's none of this, hey, how's it going? How are you? Tell me everything about you. Like, there's not like this huge, intense wave of emotion up front to a stranger. It's like, well, no, because in some ways that's disrespectful because you don't actually care. So I love that, just that simple bonjour, and leave it at that. If there are questions, we will ask them. Yeah, I think that's super cool. Next on our list, the French are fun. I really love how fun the French are. They really value spending time together with people and having a good time, whether that's over some wine and cheese, right? Over just a good meal with friends. I have a buddy of mine who I call pretty regularly, and we laugh and we tell jokes, and there's lots of humor involved, and the French just really enjoy fun. And last, but certainly not least on this list, is the French are super loyal and loving people. So I have some really good friends. Well, they started off as just language partners, but now they're friends. I consider them friends. They're loyal, they're committed, and I think that's really awesome. And I know I can count on them for not just language exchanges, but I can be me. I can share some of my story and some things maybe I'm just kind of wrestling with, and they'll give me their thoughts and opinions boldly, and I love that. And I can count on them just to continue to be friends, which is super cool. So the French are loyal and loving. And I love that about them. So, dear viewer, I'll leave the list there at that. There's so many more things we could add to this list for every culture, but I just really wanted to highlight the French people in this video. And shout out to all my French friends out there. And for you, dear viewer, if you are interested in learning French, which would make sense if you're watching this video, check out some of the links in the description to some great YouTubers who are either French or teach French. A few of my favorites are Easy French, there's Inner French, French Mornings with Eliza. These are some great YouTube channels to start with to learn French. So my challenge to you is to open your browser or go up to the search bar on your YouTube page and look up some of these channels. Look at some of their content, start making steps towards progress. I know it's scary. I know it's a lot. It's a huge commitment, but honestly, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So don't give up. Get excited. That's my goal with this channel, is to get people excited about learning languages, excited to connect cross-culturally. And so with that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Ciao!